This next set of castles built way up on a hill are the castles of what's known as the Hostel Brothers. The two castles of Sternberg and Liebenstein near Bonhoeffer are surrounded by myth. Two hostile brothers are supposedly fought against one another from the neighboring castles. While the defensive wall between the two castles could be one piece of evidence from the for this myth, in reality it simply constitutes the second curtain wall of Sternberg Castle. In fact, there never seems to have been any armed conflict between the castles. Sternberg, the castle is more to the north, was first mentioned in 1034, which makes it pretty old on the terms of the castles on the Rhine, and is the oldest castle still preserved today. Built on top of a rock, the mighty square keep stands as far as possible from the curtain wall. Within the 12th century, part of the castle and below the keep stands a more recent building resembling a great hall and with a circular stair tower. This is a so-called women's building, enlarged and turned into a residence in 1970. Since 1972, the Rhine side has housed a castle pub designed in a neo-Gothic style. In 1276, the castle passed over from the possession of the lords of Boland to the counts of Stoffen and Damsfels. The Bolands, of course, were that family of robber barons. And in 1320, it became a sole possession of the electorate of Treves, presumably Corlin. Von Nassen was the castle's last warden before it was declared inhabitable in 1568. The other castle, which is the Liebenstein Castle, which is only 150 meters further south, was built in the 13th century, although it is not known whether it was meant to lay siege or to protect the Sternberg Castle. The square-shaped keep stands on a base of rock and is almost entirely dilapidated today. Several residential towers were integrated into the ring wall, the oldest of which is still preserved. At the ditch, it is possible to see the remains of the castle gate, including the drawbridge. Liebenstein was first mentioned in around 1294-95 when the Count Sophiam Damfels sold the castle to the Knights of Schnack von Stomberg and Ludwig von Sternberg, who called themselves von Liebensteins ever since then. After both families of knights died out, the Emperor Ferdinand I gave the castle to the freemen of Waldenburg in Fife. Since 1592, the castle has been declared inhabitable. This particular castle is privately owned. You can get to it and park in its courtyard. Actually, both of these castles you can get to and park in the courtyard. By this time on the Rhine Cruise, we were actually back on the bus. We'd given up the boat. However, we were on traveling past this castle and had not stopped in. It is the Marksburg Castle. The Marksburg Castle is unique in a spectacular setting, as the only hilltop castle among the Middle Rhine never to have been destroyed. It now enjoys the position of the quintessential symbol of the castle, the defensive architecture of the region. Thankful to the careful preservation work that has begun in about 1900s, the Marksburg today offers a visitor a authentic taste of medieval atmosphere than any other of the Rhine castles. The castle was probably founded by the Lord of Brubeck between 1117 and 1171. By the year 1231, at the latest, it was in the possession of the Lords of Ipstein. through, though like the nearby village of Barbach, it would change hands many times over the centuries. For a time, the castle was also a residence to the cadet line of the counts of the Katz family. In the middle of the oldest part of the castle stands the keep with its rectangular 12-foot century foundations. Additions made to the southern defensive side in the first quarter of the 13th century include a 4-story chapel. Many construction phases followed in subsequent centuries, and during the 17th and 18th centuries, the outer baileys, towers, bastions, and cannon batteries were added to the castle. The German Association, which is still based in the castle today, purchased it in the 1900s. Castle researcher and architect Bodo Ebdehart took charge of the preservation, which for him primarily meant reconstruction. And so from 1900 on, he oversaw the restoration of the King's Hall, the blacksmith's forge, the wine cellar, the torture chamber, as well as the extension of the upper part of the keep. Most of the exhibits are original, dating back to between the 15th and 17th century. Rheinbach, or the Rhine Wing, rebuilt in 1708, houses a collection of weapons and the armory, among a notable collection of military paraphernalia. The herb garden was planted in 1969, and the kitchen was reconstruction in 1974. This castle is, like I said, German Castle Association. It is open for touring. It has a car park, and it would take about a 20-minute walk from there to get into the castle.